Hello there, WhatCulture Gaming. My name is Ewan, not McGregor, and I'm joined by General Grievous Scott Tailford because he can't stop coughing.
Coughing and he's asthmatic, but near enough, it's what we go for.
Yep.
At the same time, some better news is that it seems like Respawn are doing another single-player Star Wars game.
Can we get the Respawn making a single-player Star Wars game klaxon right here?
It'll be like a Death Star, like, woo! sort of thing, but in a good way. But yeah, so they've put out a job listing on their official site, which was picked up by PC Games N, and it's semi-wishful thinking, but it does seem to point directly at a single-player Star Wars game. So they're hiring for a senior software engineer, and the key quote in the description is that they want someone who is invigorated by the idea of coding third-person action-adventure games. What multiplayer game is a third-person action-adventure?
Single-player game, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Well, exactly, but if they were hiring for a third-person action-adventure, it has to be single-player.
Exactly.
Assumedly. Now they've also said they're hiring for a senior character artist and a level designer. Again, level designer, usually those things would be phrased differently. It would be something more about multiplayer mechanics or environments or arenas or whatever. Kind of hints at, let's say, another single-player game. So we can just talk about general wish list stuff.
Yes, I'm really excited for this. I think Jedi Fallen Order, again, was my favorite. Through lack of basically my own admission, not playing much in 2019, it was my favorite game in 2019. And as a massive Star Wars fan, I absolutely loved it. I definitely thought there was room for improvement. As I mentioned in my review, I did think that even though it was very well put together, there were certain things that let it down. A lack of polish in particular was one thing that really kind of stood out to me. But yeah, a sequel is a natural thing, and I'm really excited about it. We did kind of touch on this in our podcast after the game launched. Me and Josh and Ben Roy did one on Facebook, and you were in one as well. We were talking about how there is so much that kind of the 3 to 4 gap, episode 3 to 4 gap rather, kind of limits the storytelling aspect here, because Cal, as a Jedi, kind of has to get out the picture before Luke Skywalker comes along and is the one and only hope. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to where they can go with this. I'm hoping personally that if they are going to continue with this, they're going to have to try and move further away from the original trilogy. Keep it kind of closer towards the beginning of that gap. 5 years after Revenge of the Sith, I think picking up immediately after and having it that early on is how you get around it, and you get a nice trilogy of games.
I tell you what, I've got a little list of things that I want to see. Number one thing I want to see is some robes. I want some Jedi robes. There weren't any robes in Jedi Fallen Order, not even at the end. And I want a big hood. Jedis are known for massive hoods. I don't. Pick up a hood.
Do you want him getting chased by Tommy Lee Jones' Inquisitor, and then the Cal's there with his Jedi robes on, and he's like, "I didn't kill my wife,"
and just goes back off the end of a waterfall. Yeah, I mean, Luke could find some robes in return. I basically want that same time jump, and I want Cal to return fully formed as a full-formed Jedi, working alongside Sia. The other thing that I had down is maybe multiple characters, because for me, we talked about this in an article. I think the video's online as well. Is that Cal, bless him, maybe isn't the most exciting character in that cast of characters.
Yes, I voiced this. So it was a thing that I talked with Joe, one of our editors, today. I was talking about how, even though I really loved Fallen Order, I definitely thought the most intriguing aspect of the story was actually, and obviously massive spoilers ahead of you, is the whole stuff with Trilla and Sia. And I would have loved to have played that game where you're going, Order 66 is happening, and you're Trilla, and then your master gets captured, and then she like breaks out, and then you become an Inquisitor, and you have that whole thing, and you redeem yourself at the end by going up against Darth Vader. I think that would have been really, really cool as a game, and it's a shame we didn't get that.
Trilla had some full-on like female Kylo vibes as well, like in terms of the visuals and everything. And like you said, she has a great motivation, and the whole save them from themselves, sort of hook, which is obviously key to Star Wars in the overall. Yeah, I think if they were going to do multiple characters, she would be someone great to focus on.
One thing that I would like to see, Scott Tailford, and in a callback to the amazing Jedi Academy game, is a dueling PvP mode. Now, I know we all want single. I know what you're saying now, Ewan. What are you doing? We got a single-player Star Wars game. Why do you want them to multiplayer?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? And I'm just saying right now, the actual dueling mechanics in the old Jedi Academy games, where you could go into an arena and duel your mates, was great fun. Anyone who played those games will tell you the exact same thing. So I'd definitely be down for that. I don't know how they make co-op work, but I would love to have some sort. I'm always here I want to play games with my friends. I love the single player experience, but also give me a Padawan to patronize. I'll make the person playing with me wear that little rat tail thing, and then that'll be it.
That'd be a good customization option.
If you're like, you and I want to go against the boss, and be like, no, you don't.
I will take care of this. You put your tail back on. We could talk about combat in general though, because they definitely cribbed a ton from Dark Souls. And as much as I think that's a reliable formula, it's been done to death, and I kind of want them to branch out on their own. It is interesting comparing it to something like Force Unleashed, because I went back to that. They added it to the backwards compatible list. And that obviously sort of cribbed from Devil May Cry God of War, which was very much the Invo combat system of yesteryear, last generation. But at the same time, I think they kind of need to find a balance between the two, because for me, they take forever rolling out the powers in Fallen Order, so you do become accomplished at the very end, and then it ends. For me, the best part of that game is the final
I
level, and then
completely
it's
agree.
done.
Yeah, when you have all your abilities in your wheelhouse, I think that is definitely a point to be made, is that I really, really enjoyed the game when you had everything, you felt like a Jedi. And I guess the most exciting thing about this now is hopefully when they go and do the sequel, it's not going to be a case of, oh, you have to relearn all these abilities again. You need to keep a solid progression. You are now a Jedi Knight, you are now confident in your abilities. Yes, you're still on the run. Yes, the odds are still stacked against you. Hashtag never tell me the odds. But at the same time, I want to feel like a bit of a badass this time around. I did enjoy the challenge. I think the challenge should definitely stay for the next game, but I totally agree. I would love to have more range in my abilities, more different things I can chain together, I think, in one solid move. I'd love to see different kinds of lightsabers as well. Like, I really did enjoy the double-bladed lightsaber, but the way they kind of introduce it in that game is like just so like, and then there's double light. You got it?
That seems like something that was unfinished. I've read little bits and pieces about how they pushed it forward in the schedule to get it out ahead of the movie, and that seems like one of the things that was like just weirdly empty. Is that eventually, well, quite early on, you stumble across a double-ended lightsaber, Darth Maul style, and Cal just picks it up, ignites it, and pockets it, and he's away.
And it's weird as well because it feels though in the story it's like a big like, oh my god, your master had a double-bladed lightsaber, and that's why it's severed in half. But they never really touched on that at that moment. So I'd love to see that. I'd love to see different kinds of lightsabers. Maybe we'll get, obviously if you play, you have the split part lightsaber. Maybe have an actual stance mode where you can take them apart and wield them dual wielded more often. Maybe a shorter blade lightsaber. Maybe that. Heck, even give me that stupid little rotatey helicopter bloody like lightsaber that the Inquisitors have, because I'd use that as well. But like anything that really kind of makes this your own Jedi, I think is really good. The robes point is really good because how hell are we ever going to get to Galaxy's Edge? Like, are we ever this is our one chance of doing this.
Sometime in life, we might eventually make our way there and make our own lightsaber. In regards to some of the combat stuff, like splitting that difference between the Souls formula and the Force Unleashed stuff, but because you don't play that many Souls games, did you quite like the way Fallen Order plays?
Yes, I did actually. It's weird. I think even though I should have, Bloodborne should have been my entry into that series because I love Gothic literature, I love all that kind of stuff, and I got into it and I was just like, damn, this really infuriates me.
I'm dead again.
But like with Star Wars, it's like, oh, I'm compelled to keep playing this because I love Star Wars. There's no way I'm not going to keep just push against Ogdo Bogdo, even though I didn't think he was as hard as
to hell with Ogdo Bogdo.
There was the bloody the Nilak from like from Zephyr. They annoyed me.
All I'm going to say is if you handily got rid of Ogdo Bogdo, you could totally handle Bloodborne. You'd be completely fine.
I don't know, man. Those wolves kind of really messed me up at the beginning. Like.
But in terms of the split, though, like that was the thing I was going to say about Force Unleashed, is that they focused on power fantasy stuff and like you're tearing TIE fighters out the sky and slamming them into stormtroopers, and it was fine. But that felt like it was from a different time. I think that there's obviously benefits in having you ramp up towards being a Jedi Master, but in terms of then sequelization, you've already played that card. So do they do the difference between Outcast to Academy? Maybe have you be a student of Cal?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that you maybe go with this is that you look at the way that the Force Unleashed, and even though I really liked that first game, I did think that the lightsaber kind of took a back seat in terms of things, whereas Fallen Order is very much the reverse. It's very much, this is your lightsaber, this is a Jedi's weapon, and it's from a more civilized age, please hack to death a billion stormtroopers with it.
Lots of rats.
Whereas the Force abilities kind of take a back seat, so maybe that's how maybe they do bring in more Force abilities. Maybe they introduce, I don't know how they really go about this, because I remember when we were talking to Respawn ahead of the game's release, you were talking about how in the old Jedi Knight games, you had the ability to wield some darker side powers. Kyle Katarn, if he wanted to, could use the Force Choke and the Force Lightning. So, do that again.
He's got the lightning.
Force Lightning. And I would really like to see maybe, obviously, depending on, how that counteracts Cal as a character, I don't know. Maybe that's how you actually do it. Maybe you actually have Sia and she can use these because she's obviously more of a darker Jedi.
Yeah.
That would make sense. I'd be very excited about that.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I talked to one of the lead narrative designers back before the game's launch, and I just asked in terms of this game, kind of half. I initially thought it was inspired by the Jedi Academy, Jedi Outcast games. They said it wasn't. It was just a happy coincidence. But I asked him about the potential of dark side powers, and he said that they definitely weren't going to do it for this game. So you never know. That might be something that they go into. In terms of fleshing out a character's abilities, there are just, I don't know about more options, but Force Lightning is a big old thing. There's kind of more you can do if you flesh the character out that way. We should talk about planets and stuff too.
Yes, and after that I want to talk about the Sting of Mantis as well.
Oh, yes. Okay, so quickly, first up with the planets. For me, in the first game, there was very little planets overall. I think there's 4. And you revisit them so much, especially towards the back third of the game. It's literally just, go to this place, this is where the answer lies, this is the quest. Oh, actually, sorry, no, it's back over there. Can you go over there? And you go over there and it's like, no, actually, no, it's back where you were before. And you literally just ping pong back and forth between Dathomir and Zephyr, I think it is. And eventually the story picks up again. But that was noticeably making the most of a lack of assets for me. So I think if they allowed more budget, allowed more time, planets would be the one thing that I would, one of the things I think they should focus on.
Yeah. I totally agree. And also I think the Sting of Mantis needs to be more like this game's Normandy. It really needs to be like, they have this great idea where it's like you're in the ship as it takes off and it goes into hyperspace. You can go around, you can customize your lightsaber, you can plant trees and flora and fauna for Grease, which is really quite nice. But they really need to make it like the Normandy, or at least like the camp in Red Dead 2. I want to sample Grease's overly salty cooking. Like, who doesn't? So I want to see them do that. I would like to see maybe a space battle segment. Maybe you get caught in hyperspace and you have to get on the guns and you have a Millennium Falcon moment from like A New Hope or whatever. And you're there fending off the Imperial forces. I'd love that. And if it was, you have a great thing there with the Mantis, but it was never really explored to the full extent that I really wanted it to. I really enjoyed saving my Bogling on Zepho, but I could only see them in events. Let me pet them. That's all I'm saying. Let me pet them.
Let me pet the dog, or whatever creature you have that resembles a dog.
A rabbit-cat-porg hybrid.
Yes, I'll also take one of those diamond foxes from Last Jedi if need be.
Probably cut yourself, maybe.
Possibly. But so this is all the stuff that we have for now. But let us know what you think down in the comments below of a potential sequel to a single-player Star Wars game. But for now, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com.
And I've been Ewan from WhatCulture.com.
And we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
We will catch you next time.